For 23 years, I've battled depression and anxiety, along with Crohn's and kidney disease. 17, I didn't know who to turn to, who to talk to, but the best thing that happened to me was a person who came in who was feeling like me and had the same problems as me. Sit down and talk to me about the future, how to fight it, how to deal with it. And from then on, it's basically been kind of trial and error. I don't really have a method. People ask me how I do it, and I say I really don't know. It's just I don't have a choice.
Depression is a very sensitive subject, especially in our world today. You have to be very careful with the way you approach it. Even myself, I've been through it, and there's a way that you have to approach it, especially with people who aren't very well with communicating. And I feel like the biggest mistake that we're making as a society and as a group is offering medicine, offering pharmaceuticals as the only way to cure depression and anxiety and that feeling of being anxious and feeling alone.
Our community needs to definitely be more aware of each other. We have this wonderful city that is just so broken in pieces, and we try to hide it with a mask. Everybody's family is going through something. There is no discrimination to mental health. Everybody has some sort of pain that they're going through. We've got single moms working 2 jobs. We have dads in addiction. We have kids who are just searching for someone who wants to care.
My anxiety, it has interfered a lot with living life. I have went to drugs, to alcohol, and I've made it out with even stronger than before. You have to reach out and talk even if you're embarrassed. Just having support groups, even going to a therapist. You have to do it. It will eat you inside out. Anxiety will.
I feel like if you talk to somebody and get everything off of your mind, it'll help you very much. But if you keep the feelings and they just stack up and like you're very sad all the time, it's not gonna help. You need to get things off your mind. Talk to your parents. That's what I do. I'd go home and have a huge conversation after school with my dad or my mom, and it'd release everything, and I'd go on with my day because I'd feel so much better after talking to somebody. And I truly know I needed it, so I asked somebody at my school, is there any way I can get into counseling? Because I wanted to do what's best for me, to not feel sad anymore, to be able to laugh and just be happy all the time, like my normal self.
My name's Anthony Roden. I am Cameron Siege Sanders' cousin and one of his biggest fans. I guess I want to tell a little story about how him and I relate. We're not exactly the regular human beings. We both had very entrepreneurial spirits. I'm a business owner, and one of the things that I have to do every single day is get out of bed. And anxiety hits the moment I wake up because it's the toughest thing to do, to get out of bed, to essentially wing it in a world when you're different and when you don't really follow the status quo, when you do things that are above average and you strive to provide the biggest solutions you can at the highest level. Myself, I struggle with anxiety and stress. Stress, the definition of stress is not being where you want to be right now. And for people like myself and for people like Cameron, nothing is ever really good enough. We want to help more people. We're givers, not takers. And I recently I was so happy to connect with him over the summer a few times, and we really discussed how we want to give way more than we take, and we want to help the masses, and that is what will keep me connected with him forever. I will always be his biggest fan in many respects, because I knew what was going on in the inside of his head. Nothing is ever good enough. You know, we want to bring more joy, we want to solve more problems, we want to have more financial freedom. You can't ever tell someone like me or someone like him that we're going to work for other people. We want to work for ourselves, and we're just uniquely stubborn in that way. And again, that's how I related to him. That's how I saw inside of his mind. And in terms of mindset, we were just very, very paralleled, very mirrored.
I am here today to talk about basically working on taking back our community. Putting in supports, organizations, events, youth groups, you know, anything that we need to do to help with the drug epidemic, with the mental health epidemic, the lack of resources that mental health individuals have, working on putting in peer advocates, doing like peer advocacy, so people have someone that they can connect with. We are looking at starting a youth group. We are looking at starting a sub-Auburn Coalition group, which will meet, you know, in the evenings, because it's time. It's time to fight what is going on in our community.
There's no way to prepare for this. So when I was asked to come and to speak, I thought about what it is that I would say, what it is that I would study. And my personality is one where I want to feel prepared all the time. But there are some things you can't be prepared for. The scripture says, those that mourn will be comforted. That comes from Matthew. I'm waiting for the Comforter to appear. I submit to you all, you must know you are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. To know someone is to love someone, but I say to you, do you really know that person? Do you really know what makes them smile? Do you really know what their hopes and their dreams are? Do you really know what their fears are? And when you know what their fears are you there to talk with them about it? It is important that each one of us lean in to one another. It is important that we take one another and we link up, because that's how we love on one another. I am Jameer Wilson's mom. I'm also Mama Rhoda. I'm sitting here today doing something that I never dreamed I would ever have to do. Not now. And I'm saying this because the pain is profound and it's deep, but it is nothing like the family that lost their loved ones. Nothing. So I can only imagine what that is like.
Good evening. My name is Gwen Mcleod, and I'm the president and CEO of Gwen Inc. and a community leader. But as part of this project for Siege the Day, I also want to share with you that I'm someone that throughout my life has struggled with anxiety and depression. And if I'm really honest with you about it, I'm 62 now, but that all was true for me when I was 12 years old. And what made the difference in my life was finally getting to a place, and I probably was close to 40 when I figured this out, where where I learned that reaching out for help, telling my truth, would be the thing that was good for me. Yep, I was that person running around bragging, saying that I'd only had 2 hours of sleep for months and months on end, until a therapist looked at me and said, "What the hell do you think is normal about that?" I am very successful in my life, and I've struggled with anxiety, and if I'm not careful, I could continue to struggle with anxiety and depression almost on a daily basis. I share that with you to say that, again, as a community leader, I am aware that young people are struggling with the very same issues that I struggle with. But I also feel compelled to tell my truth with the hope that it will help other young people and other adults feel free to tell their truth as well.
I'm Julianne Sanders. On October 9th, I lost my son Cameron after a very long battle with anxiety, insomnia, and I believe depression. But I'm guessing because he would never go seek a diagnosis or a treatment or help from the medical community, he turned to his family. We loved him and we held him and we tried to convince him that there was help available. He was a role model in this town, and he didn't want to appear weak or crazy to a lot of his peers or his little brothers, little nephews. And sometimes when you face the fact that you may need help, you start to doubt that you're worthy of the title of role model. And I think that he had a disappointment that he couldn't manage all of his emotions all of the time. I think he was disappointed in himself. And that can paralyze a person. He logically knew he should have reached out for help. He was wrong. I found out so many other people feel the same way. There's so many kids, there's so many adults, there's so many men, there's so many women, professionals, unemployed, divorced, married, black, white. We seem to all be affected by anxiety. And this community has lost so many beautiful souls, whether it was through addiction, suicide, accident, alcoholism, illness, heart-related illness. It's all stress-related illness. And I truly hope that we can start to reach out to each other a little bit more with compassion and acceptance, and maybe find some common ground and some common things. These feelings that we share, we have to be able to admit that we sometimes need each other. Maybe we don't need a doctor, or maybe we don't need an exercise program or meditation. Maybe we just need physical and emotional contact with our people, whether it's your family, your coworkers that truly don't know you and know what you suffer with, or what your family or your children are suffering with.
When someone says, to just fine, fine's not an answer. It's like, are you good or bad? And it's good or bad. There's no fine. You need to get down and let them people know that, you're there for them.
As a youth, we just gotta come together and we gotta just all want it. We have to all want it.
If you see me on the street, or I see you on the street and I look you right in the eye and I smile, no, it's because I see you. I see you, and at that point I'll think about you. Thanks.
the lesson that I'm going to take away and the lesson that I'm going to live with for all the days that I am here is I'm going to love on the people that are close to me. I'm going to encourage those people that are close to me. I am my sister's keeper. I'm going to make sure that there is a safe refuge for people. And I'm going to do that to honor Cameron for the rest of my life. Thank you.
In this video that we are creating, some very brave people from all walks of life hope that by telling their stories, you find something familiar that allows you to either reach out to someone you know is suffering or to yourself reach out because you are suffering. And don't give up, and don't think you can handle it by yourself, and don't self-diagnose, and don't self-medicate. Talk it out though, and reach out, because no one should feel this way. No one should have to lose their child. You hear it again and again, but it is happening. And I don't want another mom to feel like this.
It's 2018, I'm 22. I'm doing this for Auburn, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for the whole upstate, and I just want to thank you guys for actually paying attention and supporting me.